Finding motivation in life can sometimes be a bit difficult, so I like to do some self-assessments with myself sometimes to gauge where I'm at. We have to really understand our own unique mentalities to shift that negative mindset into something more positive. So the goal here is to find out what motivates us and what can prevent us from pushing ourselves into a negative state of mind. A self-assessment is very good because it helps reflect on our work habits, our preferences, our motivation, our impasses, business, challenges, and so on. And a self-assessment is essentially where you evaluate yourself and your own work, your performance, your motivation, and the goal is to identify areas of improvement so that you can have a better lifestyle, essentially. And to be fair, self-assessments will not fix everything. There's always going to be areas to improve on, but it does at least set us some sort of baseline for us to work with. So I want to focus on two types of motivation here, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation comes from within. It's about doing something because you find it enjoyable. It's something you actually like doing. For example, some people really find joy in solving complex problems, or you feel a sense of accomplishment when you finish a project, or maybe when you pass that level in a game. That is an example of intrinsic motivation where that type of enjoyment comes from within, from actually doing it yourself, and at the end, or maybe that journey itself is enjoyable. Some people maybe think of David Goggins, who really enjoys, those very strenuous exercises, and that path to him might have a lot of intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation comes from external factors. It's about doing something to earn a reward or to avoid a punishment. For example, you may be extrinsically motivated at work for a promotion or for recognition from your peers or for a bonus. If you work for a job, or maybe if you do X amount of sales or orders, you get more money, that could be extrinsic motivation. And understanding what motivational drivers work for you is going to really depend on yourself, but it's important to do that self-assessment because at least you know which one you're kind of working with right now, and maybe you don't want to be in that one and you want to be in the other one, but it's a good idea to at least to understand where you are. So ask yourself, what aspects of your job do you actually find the most enjoyable? Is it the path or the end where you get that motivation and you feel so much joy of you doing it, or you're really just there for the money? If you're kind of just there because the job pays good, that could be extrinsic, right? If you're there because maybe you're a teacher, or you're somebody who works with kids, or you work with elderly, or you work in a ranch and you help others, that could be very intrinsic. You could actually find a lot of motivation and joy in helping other people. The second question is, what activities make you lose track of time when you're doing them? This will put into perspective that if you are just looking at the clock, like think back when you were in school, right? Remember when we would be at school and that white clock was just there, and you're just thinking, man, 30 more minutes and I get to eat lunch. Or you're thinking 15 more minutes and school ends, whatever it is. Or maybe it's first shift and you're looking at it, you're like, damn, I have 10 hours or whatever. But the point is that if you lose track of time when you're doing something that you're so into it and you're like, wow, what the hell, I've been working here for 2 hours already and I hadn't even realized that, then that can be intrinsic. If you worry about the time, could be extrinsic. The third question is, when do you feel most fulfilled and satisfied at work? Again, this is very similar to the first one, but it's a little bit different because it's asking, when do you feel most fulfilled? The first one asks, what aspects of your job do you enjoy? This one is saying not so much the aspects, the external factors, but what part of you actually doing that work do you enjoy the most? And number 4 is, what external rewards or recognition do you value the most? This will put into perspective how much of an impact extrinsic motivation has on you. And I think we all sort of do. At least I do. I do have some extrinsic motivation where I do get pushed a lot by my competition and my peers and me wanting to excel and be better. But I also feel that intrinsic motivation when I do stuff that's good for other people. And you might be thinking, well, what's the real point of this? Well, if you has something that leans towards intrinsic motivation. Hey team, if you're stuck in your professional career or you need assistance in perfecting your resume or interview skills, you are in luck. I am offering one-on-one coachings where you and I will sit together, we will review your resume, I can provide a template, and we will tailor it specifically for the jobs that you're looking for. I will teach you exactly what people at a director or VP level look at when they're reviewing resumes. I have interviewed over hundreds of employees, so I know exactly what to look for when a resume lands on my desk for a senior manager position. motivation. I will guide you to perfect your resume, and we will do mock interviews to prepare you as much as possible. Don't wait, let's pave the path to greater wealth, and there's a link in the description. Now let's get back to the video. But it's important to understand that the goal may not necessarily align with the type of motivation that we're in. So a perfect example that I like to say is if your goal is to have financial freedom, let's say that you want to retire by 40 years old or whatever, and by retire I just mean that you don't have to work at a W-2 or that you don't have to worry about money and everything's paid off. I don't know. Everybody's goals are different. But my point is, if you want to make more money, do you think that you're going to have to focus on intrinsic motivation or on extrinsic motivation? Which one of those two do you think will help you get there? Do you think it's going to be the motivation from having to find outside sources or the ability to find a lot of joy in what you do? I think it's understandable that a lot of us do jobs that we might not necessarily absolutely love. Some people are in scenarios where they hate their jobs, but it gets them the money that they need. Understanding this type of motivation can relate to why you don't feel motivated at work. If you are in a scenario where you are very intrinsically motivated, but your career, your current job is everything but that, that's a good perspective that you may need to kind of pivot to another area or continue making the sacrifice so that one day in the future you have that luxury to do something that is intrinsically motivated for you. The next thing I like to do is understand my strengths and my weaknesses. So knowing your strengths can help you leverage and stay motivated, and understanding your weaknesses allows you to address them and prevent them from becoming obstacles, which is what's very important. So ask yourself, what are your key strengths? Are you good at skills? Are there traits? Do you have a specific area of knowledge? Is there something that you're able to do that's better than your competition or your peers? Is there something that sets you apart? If there isn't, then you already know that that might fall under a weakness. And don't think here, well, I'm not really good at anything. Just think, what are your strengths? It's not saying, what are you perfect at? That's not the question. The question isn't, what are you 100% the best at everywhere at all times? It's saying, what is something that you're good at? You don't have to be the best at it. You just have to be good at it, okay? Now that you've outlined your strengths, well, how do they actually help you stay motivated and perform well at work? Do your strengths align to your work ethic, to what you actually do at work? Maybe your strength is that you're a amazing artist and you work at a factory, right? Maybe there's some misalignment there, but understanding your strengths can help you start allocating traits from there and putting them into your work area. There might not be a lot of overlapping, but there could be some here and there that you can at least use in that area. And the key here is to use your strengths to stay motivated. Remember that. The point here is you want to stay motivated. The whole point of the exercise is to find motivational factors to really push yourself to stay in the game and to grind longer. So remember, your strengths that you outline have to find ways to motivate you well at what you're doing for work. What are your weaknesses? Number 3, what are your weaknesses? Be honest with yourself and find areas of struggle so you can patch those holes and become a better individual altogether, and at the end, something that contributes to greater wealth. Now, number 4 is very important. How do these weaknesses actually impact your motivation and performance? Are these weaknesses to the point where they're affecting you daily? The bigger the weakness and the bigger the impact to your motivation, the bigger the reason why you should go and find solutions to try to solve them. For example, let's say that maybe you're bad at math and it's affecting your work because you work with a P&L or you do some financing at work already. You're at a higher position and you have to do these things. Maybe you can find a mentor. Maybe you can do some coaching sessions with somebody that can teach you how to properly do these things so that you can patch those holes of weakness. Maybe you can watch a podcast, watch more YouTubes, watch more Bridging Mindset to get a better understanding of some of those weaknesses so that you can become a better all-over individual and at the end affect your performance at work positively. The next step is that you want to create a roadmap, and I like to start my roadmap with clear goals. Now this sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not. If you just write it down, you can just use a pen and paper, it's fine. So outline your goals based on your reflections, and I like to use SMART, and SMART stands for set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. These means that your goals should align with your motivational driver. So let's break these down, right? Specific, I want to improve my customer service skill. Measurable, I will handle customer complaints and reviews and improve my positive feedback by 90%. Number 3, relevant, improving my customer service skill will help me retain customers and I represent my business in a better manner. This is even more important if you're the business owner. And number 4, time bound, I will improve my skill within 6 months. So as you can see here, I set a goal. I had something that I could measure my goal with. It's relevant to my career or my professional aspect in the sense that it helps my business, and I'm going to give myself 6 months to do this. And when we talk about strengths, you also want to leverage your strengths. If you know that you're good at something that you are maybe not the best at, but it's something that you feel you excel in, leverage it. Mention it at work, mention it to your boss, maybe start doing that, start learning more, get on YouTube and actually get the knowledge from your strengths as well, because those could be something you implement a lot faster at work and you can leverage that to become, that person that people go to. So all this being said, motivation in the workforce is very important because it sets the bar for how well you can achieve your goals and how well you can make money. If you're not motivated and you own your own business, that's going to affect your team. If you're a manager or a leader and you're not motivated, again, that's going to affect your team. So it feels like it's a lot on your shoulders, but remember, align your motivation with what you do. You don't have to do it now, but at least set that goal for yourself and say, okay, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm going to work. I'm going to work to it. I'm going to establish this plan and I'm going to get there. I'm going to work on my weaknesses. I'm going to leverage my strengths. And I promise you guys that if you just find yourself the time to work on yourself as a person and to patch these things and to leverage these things, you will get better results in your personal life. This is not just about business, but in your actual personal life as well. And I'm talking through experience where I've found myself lacking motivation at work sometimes. I've found it. I understand that maybe I don't find enjoyment in the same things as some people do. I'm pretty nihilistic sometimes about certain things, but I also know that I want to accomplish certain things in life. And for me to do that, I have to find motivation. And my stem from motivation is almost stress. I like to feel bad. I like to feel horrible. Maybe that's why I joined the Marine Corps. I don't know. But there's something there that drives me to be better. And that's not the same for everybody. And we need to understand our sources of motivation so that we can align our goals with them. So I really hope that you guys found some insight in this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.